You probably think winter is just about cold nights, icy roads, and shoveling the driveway. But what if I told you there's a hidden danger almost nobody talks about? FEMA, the same agency that responds to America's biggest disasters, recently updated their cold weather preparedness checklist. And it's not filled with fancy gadgets or overpriced survival gear. Nope. It's simple, affordable items that most of us already have lying around, yet few people realize how life-saving they can be when the temperature crashes. Here's the truth most people don't want to face: this winter is going to be tougher, stranger, and far more dangerous than we expect. The grid is weak. One deep freeze can break it. We've seen it happen before. In Texas, entire families were trapped in freezing homes, powerless for days. In the Midwest, people went so long without heat, they started burning furniture and ripping apart their own houses just to survive. That's not survival, that's desperation. But FEMA's list isn't about panic. It's about being smart, staying ahead, and giving yourself a fighting chance when everything else fails. These 9 basic items they recommend aren't flashy, but they actually work. Odds are, some are already in your house right now, quietly waiting to save your life. The only problem? Most people don't realize their true power until it's too late. And before we dive into the first one, let me ask you, have you noticed it already? The weird weather, the higher heating bills, the empty shelves in the store? What's happening in your town right now might be a preview of what's about to sweep across the whole country. Now let's start with the first must-have: personal heat packs and wearable warmth. At first, they sound like gimmicks: battery-powered vests, rechargeable hand warmers. It feels like a TikTok fad, right? But here's the reality: when the power goes out, your thermostat is nothing but a plastic decoration on the wall. The house loses heat faster than you can imagine. And suddenly, that cozy blanket feels like a thin napkin against a brutal Arctic blast. This is where personal heating gear flips the game. Rechargeable hand warmers, heated jackets, even adapters that use the same batteries from your cordless drill. These aren't toys. They're lifesavers. The trick isn't to heat your whole house. You'll never manage that. The trick is to heat you, your chest, your back, your core. Keep your body temperature stable, and you survive. Lose it, and hypothermia sneaks up degree by degree, quiet as a thief in the night. What makes these devices so powerful is how flexible they are. A single charged pack can run for hours. You can rotate them between family members. You can tuck them under blankets to stretch their life. And unlike candles or makeshift fires, they don't risk carbon monoxide poisoning or burning your house down while you sleep. Experts are clear: batteries won't cook your dinner or heat your entire living room, but they will keep your body alive long enough for the grid to come back, or for help to arrive. That's the fine line between misery and control, between shivering in the dark and staying in charge of your body. So don't roll your eyes at battery heat. Stock up on rechargeable warmers, keep extra packs charged, and if you can, grab a heated vest. Remember, you don't beat winter by trying to heat every square foot of your house. You beat it by heating yourself. That's not a gimmick. That's survival. That's FEMA's logic, and it works. Now let's move to number 8, fortress blankets built for survival. I know what you're thinking: a blanket. That sounds boring. Everybody's got one tossed over the couch, or folded at the foot of the bed. But here's the cold hard truth: most of those soft fleece throws you see plastered all over Instagram. Completely useless in a blackout. They'll look cute, they'll feel cozy for a few minutes, and then they'll betray you the second your house starts bleeding heat like an open wound. FEMA doesn't waste time with flimsy fleece. They point to blankets designed for real survival, the kind that trap heat, hold it, and refuse to let go. Think heavy wool, rugged military synthetics, old school thermal layers. The kind of ugly but effective blanket your grandmother swore by, the one that felt like it weighed 100 pounds. She wasn't wrong, because when the power's out and the house temp is plummeting, that's not comfort, that's armor. Here's why this matters: when your body heat seeps through a thin layer of fabric, you're losing energy faster than you realize. First comes exhaustion, then confusion. And for the elderly, or anyone already weak, it can spiral into something deadly. A fortress blanket stops that bleed. Its dense weave captures pockets of warm air, cycles them around your body, and creates insulation that doesn't give up after an hour. And it's not just for sleeping. A serious blanket can double as a ground cover when the floor is stealing heat from your body. It can be pressed against drafty windows, hung over a doorway, or even used to section off a single room so the heat you do have doesn't escape. That's multi-use survival gear, right there in plain sight. The danger is invisible because people underestimate it. They assume their cozy throw will hold the line. But when the temperature inside your home drops 20 degrees in a blackout, cozy becomes useless. Style won't save you, substance will. Wool, heavyweight synthetics, rugged thermals, choose materials that were built to outlast freezing nights. Because when the grid fails, your blanket isn't a luxury anymore, it's your shield against the night. Winter doesn't care how soft your blanket feels. It only respects survival. Which brings us to number 7, thermal window shields. And here's the kicker. Your biggest enemy in a blackout isn't always the freezing air itself. It's your windows. Those shiny panes of glass that make your house look bright and cozy. In a winter storm, they're massive holes in your armor. They leak out every ounce of heat you're fighting to hold on to. And once that heat escapes, you're not just dealing with a draft, you're staring down a death sentence. Throwing up some dollar store curtains won't save you. You need real insulated shields for your windows. Heavy coverings, layered barriers that lock heat inside and stop icy drafts from clawing their way in. Your grandmother knew this instinctively. She didn't need a smart thermostat or a weather app to tell her how to hold heat in a house. She threw quilts over windows, tacked blankets to frames, even layered newspapers between cloth and glass. Crude? Sure. But effective? Absolutely. And science backs her up. The Department of Energy confirms that insulated window covers can cut heat loss by nearly 40%. That's not comfort. That's survival-level efficiency. Think about it. The second your power goes out, your furnace is dead weight. Within hours, your home turns into a freezer. Most people panic, running from room to room. But the smart move? Attack the weak spot first. The glass. One thick quilt, one DIY panel of cardboard and cloth, one layer of reflective insulation. That single move can slow the bleed of warmth, buying you hours, even days. The danger is sneaky. You don't always feel the cold leaking through glass. It seeps in silently, steadily, until your body temperature has already slipped into the danger zone. That's why survivalists never ignore windows. They fortify them. Defense comes before offense, so don't think about heaters first, think about shields. Build them now. Blankets, foam boards, bubble wrap, reflective panels, whatever you can get your hands on. Because when the blackout hits, and the storm outside is battering your walls, the only thing standing between you and hypothermia may be the layers you stapled to your own windows. Protect the glass, and you protect your body. That's the formula. Now we're down to number 6, off-grid radiant heat sources. And this is where survival gets real. Because cold isn't just uncomfortable, it's a predator. It creeps in slowly, numbs your fingers, stiffens your joints, and before you even realize it, your body starts surrendering without a fight. So when the grid dies, and your furnace is nothing but a cold metal statue in the basement, what do you reach for? Not a candle, not a flashlight. You reach for real heat, the kind that doesn't care whether the Wi-Fi is working or not. That's where fuel-powered radiant heaters come in. Propane, kerosene, catalytic, it doesn't matter. These are the same heaters FEMA stocks in emergency shelters for one reason: they don't care about power lines. They run independently, throwing off infrared warmth that heats you directly, not just the air around you. Picture this. Your house is silent, the wind outside is howling, and even wrapped in every blanket you own, you're still shivering. Then you fire up a radiant heater. Within minutes, you feel warmth sinking into your chest. Your hands stop aching. The room doesn't feel like a tomb anymore. And with that heat comes something else. Hope. But here's the catch. These heaters are powerful allies, but dangerous if you don't respect the rules. And breaking those rules can cost you more than just comfort. Here's the harsh truth. Radiant heaters can save your life, but they can also take it if you ignore the rules. You need ventilation. Always. You need clearance, no curtains, no paper, nothing flammable within a few feet. And you need safety features, an oxygen depletion sensor, a tip-over shutoff. Skip those, or buy the wrong model, and you're not just shivering, you're gambling with fire or carbon monoxide poisoning. But when you use them properly, nothing beats a radiant heater in a blackout winter. Fuel becomes your lifeline. Propane tanks, kerosene cans, these can sit quietly for months, even years, waiting for the night when the grid fails. Unlike a battery pack that dies after a few hours, a single gallon of fuel can give you night after night of life-saving heat. The bottom line? If you're prepping for a grid-down winter, blankets alone won't cut it. You need a safe, fuel-powered radiant heater. You need extra fuel. And most importantly, you need to practice with it before disaster strikes. Because when your house is an icebox and the storm outside is howling, That's not the time to be fumbling with instructions. Off-grid heat isn't luxury. It's survival. Now let's talk about number 5 long life emergency meal kits. You can fight the dark. You can fight the cold. But try fighting hunger for more than a couple of days, and you'll meet a whole new level of despair. Hunger doesn't scream at you, it whispers. Shaky hands. Cloudy thoughts. Muscles that just stop obeying. That's why FEMA repeats one message again and again: non-perishable food isn't optional. It's essential. And no, that doesn't mean the half-open box of cereal in your cupboard, or a stash of chips in the pantry. We're talking about shelf-stable survival meals, freeze-dried packs, MREs, ration bars, and retort pouches that can sit quietly for decades and still be ready when you need them most. Some require just a splash of water, others can be eaten straight out of the bag. No fridge, no stove, no excuses. The real power of these kits isn't taste, it's reliability. Many have a 25-year shelf life, sealed in multi-layer pouches that block oxygen and moisture. And when grocery stores are stripped bare, when trucks can't deliver food, when neighbors are panicking, you won't be. You'll be eating while everyone else is waiting for help. The invisible danger here is how people underestimate hunger. They say, "I'll ration," but rationing makes you weak faster than you think. In freezing weather, when your body runs out of calories, it doesn't just feel tired, it sacrifices warmth to conserve energy. That's when hypothermia slips in like a thief. The right emergency food kit doesn't just keep you fed, it keeps your core burning, your brain sharp, and your willpower alive. So don't toss a few random cans in a closet and call it a plan. Build a survival pantry, with intention. Stock calorie-dense bars, protein-heavy meals, and lightweight grains. Rotate them yearly. Keep some in a go bag, stash others in the basement, spread them out so one accident doesn't wipe out everything. Because in a blackout winter, food isn't about flavor, it's about fuel. And these shelf-stable meal packs? They might just be the most boring, most practical, and most life-saving investment you'll ever make. When the lights go out, panic usually comes first. Most people grab their phone flashlight, drain the last 20% of battery, and then sit helplessly in the dark, waiting for the power company to get its act together. But here's something FEMA still acknowledges, and something your grandparents understood better than most of us today. A simple kerosene lamp is a weapon against the dark, not flashy, not digital, just rugged, reliable light that keeps burning when everything else fails. Let's be real. LED lanterns are fine, until their batteries die. Flashlights, great for a few hours. But what happens on night 2, or night 3? That's where the kerosene lamp wipes the floor with modern gadgets. Pour in fuel, strike a match, adjust the wick, and you've got steady light for 10, 15, even 20 hours on a single fill. No beeps, no dead batteries, no fragile electronics that give up in the cold. Just fire that burns. And here's the hidden bonus: kerosene lamps don't just light a room, they throw off a little warmth. Not enough to heat a whole house, but enough to take the edge off in a single corner. During past disasters, whether it was the Great Northeast Blackout of '65 or the ice storms that shut down entire towns, families didn't gather around smartphones. They gathered around kerosene lamps. They read by them, cooked small meals on top of them, even used mirrors to reflect and multiply the glow. One lamp became the beating heart of the home. Of course, rules matter. Never place a lamp near curtains or paper. Always ventilate the room. Store fuel safely. Do it wrong, and you trade light for danger. But handle it right, and a kerosene lamp is as close to foolproof as emergency lighting gets. Unlike fragile tech, it doesn't care if the internet is down, or if the power lines are frozen. It just works. And don't underestimate the invisible threat here: total darkness. It doesn't just inconvenience you, it messes with your head. Fear multiplies. Tempers flare. Families fracture. Darkness is psychological warfare, and a steady lamp flame cuts that in half. It calms nerves, reassures children, and keeps morale alive while you wait for sunrise, or rescue. So if you're serious about winter prepping, stop relying on batteries alone. Add a kerosene lamp to your kit.